All right, let's talk a little bit about how the Supreme Court works. This is something that I think is a little bit misunderstood by a lot of people, in the fact that the Supreme Court doesn't work like a regular court like you'd see on TV. There are judges in the form of Supreme Court justices. All 9 Supreme Court justices, there are 9 of them, will sit and listen to every single case. They don't need 9 justices. Let's say I've got the flu and I decided I just can't come into work today. They can go with less than 9. You need 6 at a minimum. If there's less than 6, then they're out. Then they have to postpone the proceedings. But if I, for some reason, can't be there, they can go with less than 9. They have a set schedule. They start in October and they go all the way to the end of June. So they go for 9 months. Each month, they have a set schedule. For 2 weeks, they listen to cases. And then for 2 weeks, they research future cases. They research the cases that they've heard and start to formulate opinions. And then they write those opinions. The opinions are extremely important, and they have to come down in written form. We'll talk about, there's going to be a special video on opinions kind of going forward. So 2 weeks is kind of like listening, and 2 weeks is the actual research and formulating opinion. Within that time frame, they have secret meetings that everybody knows about, where they determine like what cases they're going to hear, future cases they're going to hear, and then obviously they have meetings about what they've already heard. It's pretty democratic. They're kind of short and sweet. They don't debate for days and days. Everybody gets a little bit of a say, and then they vote kind of how they want to vote on the case. It's pretty simple. Okay. The Chief Justice is one of the 9 justices on the Supreme Court. He is, or she is, at this point in time, it's John Roberts. It's a he. John Roberts was appointed by George W. Bush. So the Chief Justice is appointed. So in the case of John Roberts, he came in as the Chief Justice, as the big dog. Even though he had the least amount of experience on the court, he was appointed specifically for that job. Now, George W. Bush could have worked it a different way. He could have appointed a different justice to take over the role of Chief Justice and then pick John Roberts to fill in as just an associate justice. But most of the time, they pick the Chief Justice as the person that they want, for sure. Each justice has a law clerk or law clerks that usually are pretty recent graduates from probably some of the top schools in the country, Harvard, Yale. They serve for a very short period of time. I know Brett Kavanaugh, I know, creates a lot of controversy, but Brett Kavanaugh was a law clerk when he came out of, I believe it was Yale, for a year or two. So that's obviously a great thing to put on your resume, as I was a law clerk for Supreme Court Justice. They do a lot of the grunt work, a lot of writing, a lot of reading. So the Chief Justices have that information as they see fit. Let's talk about oral arguments. Oral arguments are a little different in the Supreme Court than they are in a regular court. Like I mentioned, they're not witnesses, kind of like you'd see in a regular courtroom. In the Supreme Court, it's the 9 justices, and then the lawyer just gets up in front of the justices and makes his argument. So each side has 30 minutes to go, and there's a lighting system literally that's going to give you like the red light, like you're done. And when you get the red light, you're done. Like, you don't have like, hey, I just want to finish up real quick. Like, you get broomed in a hurry. So make your best point first, get it out there, because when you're done, you are done. You get 30 minutes. That's a hard and fast rule. To make it more problematic, as you are giving your spiel, your legal reason for why your side should win, each of the 9 Supreme Court justices can at any moment cut in, ask questions, ask you to clarify a point, kind of debate a point if they feel like, hey, you haven't proven this. Like, I don't think that's a great argument. They could absolutely do that if they see the need. So there are some Supreme Court justices that are notorious for questioning and how intense they are. There are some, like Clarence Thomas, that I think it was last year. He made the news because he actually asked a question in the middle of open court. It had been like 9 years since he had done that. He usually sits and just listens. So every justice has their own style. I mean, they could be brutal. They could be very supportive. Like, if they want your side to win, They can ask you questions to kind of push you in the right direction. They also can let you know in no uncertain terms that you are not doing well and you're not convincing me. So I don't buy your argument. So that is how the Supreme Court really works. That's how it runs. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact me. If not, I will see you soon. See ya.